Hello, hello, beautiful NFA Money Mamas. It's time for another episode of the Women Entrepreneur Podcast, and we're here today for a BIZ Breakdown session with Dr. Rita, the Well Health Doc. We're going to have a ton of fun conversations because she's at the startup phase of her business. So I know a lot of you listening are just getting going and you're wanting tips and strategies to up level, to scale faster. So we're going to have some really fun conversations around that. First, I want to remind you that if it's your first time here, be sure to go to thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com and sign up for either a biz breakdown session, just like the one we're going to have today, or I just added a really fun party. So we're going to have a woman entrepreneur party, and this is where you get to come hang out with other listeners. We're going to have a business topic that we share conversation around, and then you get to promote and shout out your own business. So this is a really great way for highlighting yourself, exposure, hanging out with other cool women, and being on the show. And the show is growing rapidly. Right now, we're top 5% globally. I think, by the end of this year, 100% certain we will be at the top 1%. So you will get a lot of free exposure. So just make sure you go to thewomenentrepreneurpodcast.com and sign up for either a biz breakdown session or the Women Entrepreneur Party, or both. All right, let's get started with our show today. Welcome on, Dr. Rita.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. So wonderful to be here.
Yay, I love getting to see your smiling face. It is so fun to reach out to people on Instagram. It's right now, most of the way that I connect with other women to come onto the show is on Instagram. And so it's really fun to have these conversations on Instagram and then get to see each other over, we're on StreamYard, but it's like, oh yeah, I get to know my people, which I really enjoy. So it's fun to see you here. Let's start with this. If I could give you a magic wand and you could have anything that you choose to create in your business in 2023, what would that be?
I mean, really it would be expansion comes to mind. It's really just launching my business, getting the word out, helping others, sending that message through. I've kind of, as a lot of entrepreneurs, have had my own personal journey, which has led me to where I am now, and wanting to have having the passion to want to go forward with this.
Yeah.
And really it's about getting the word out. So expansion to me would be my magic wand. If I could just get in a position where people know who I am, I can help them. There's a way to kind of mitigate all the business setup aspects of it, because those are the non-clinical, non-life, non-life experiences that I haven't had, which, they don't teach you in school. And you kind of have to get the hands-on, which is really good, because I'm learning a ton of stuff, but there's just quite a bit of information out there. So I'm super excited to be on your podcast today to kind of get your direction, and also to share with others maybe something that they're going through that might help them.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what this is all about. It's like, pre-show, Dr. Rita and I were talking about how the entrepreneurial journey can be lonely sometimes. And, it's like having feedback and blind spot detectors, and or talking to someone who's been there. And, I've been in your spot exactly, where you have this idea for a business, you're excited about it, you have your area of expertise that you're, I'm sure, very good at. And then you go like, oh, now I've actually got to learn how to build this thing. Like, it's a whole nother beast. So yes, that is a great reason to be here. I want to expand a little bit on that, expand on the expansion. So when you say expand, in 2023, what would that look like? Is it, do you have a product or program right now? Tell us a little bit about your business model that you have set up so far.
Yeah, so I really have just getting started. I helped co-author a book with 50 other physicians, and their real life stories. And it's really about the personal journey. I think it can relate to other fields as well, like, other professional women, or busy moms, or, people who are kind of juggling a lot of tasks in a day, trying to get through their day, and kind of losing that aspect of themselves. And so right now, I think a lot of it is trying to do some coaching where I can help others with chronic health issues, overwhelming lifestyles, or just, trying to get back to that connection of that mind body connection. And really, that's my focus. I'm actually finishing up my integrative medicine fellowship. Actually, I've finished it. I'm going for the graduation in February or end of this
Woohoo!
month. It's already February.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, so I'm very proud of that. It's a 2-year fellowship, so it's, over 10,000 hours of work. And, through working and COVID and managing my own health issues, it's been a big achievement for me to have completed this, and it's something I'm passionate about too.
Yes,
So integrating that,
congratulations.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, integrating that into my coaching, I think, is going to be a game changer for a lot of people, because it really looks at not only to have the medical knowledge to really understand, the physiology and pathophysiology of disease. I think I really have that integrative approach of that mind, body, soul, mind, body, spirit, and really looking at the whole person. Where I think, modern medicine may fall a little short right now, and I think a lot of people are feeling that frustration is, it's kind of like, oh, you have this issue, so see this doctor. And if you have this other issue, if you have fatigue, you go see, your general. If you have feminine issues or women's health, menopausal issues, you go see your gynecologist, or you go see a GI doctor if you have constipation. So it gets very fragmented and confusing and, shuffled around, I think. But
Yeah.
I mean, modern medicine we need it. It gets people, over the acute illnesses, but it's really when you get into the chronic conditions. I think COVID highlighted that for sure.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I love this. So, Well Health Doc, I love that title because for me, I'm like super into holistic medicine. It was almost when I went back to school for my PhD in sociology, my other option was to be a naturopath. And
Oh, wow.
it's funny because I look back and I'm like, when I looked into it, I was like, that's going to take too long. And then my PhD took just as long. I'm like, wow, okay, I could have gone that route. But, to me, I love what you're saying about what the word that came to my mind is coherence. It's like when we have mind and heart, brain and heart coherence, then we can jive at a really powerful level, and it up levels our energy and we feel good. So similarly, when you have like a lack of coherence in the medical system, when it's not holistic and it's very fragmented, it doesn't create peace of mind
Mhm.
and peace in your body. And so I love what you're doing in the world. So let's start there. That's awesome. Good for you. I'm curious. So medical, what is your medical background? And then are you solely doing coaching now with your degrees?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, my background is family medicine. So, I'm a
Okay.
board certified family physician. I've been in practice almost 20 years. And then with this fellowship, I'm going to actually become board certified in integrative medicine. The exam is in May. So, something I'm preparing for. I've been mainly in, as a primary care physician all these years. I do actually have a background as well in process improvement, which I talk about in my co-authored book, which if anyone is interested in knowing that there's different things you can be doing in the medical realm. And currently, I want to pursue mostly just coaching because of my current employment is kind of, I wouldn't be able to offer medical, advice, direct medical advice because of my exclusive contract with my current position. But I would be able to help with life coaching, optimizing life, and really looking at that. I love how you said coherence. I just love that word. Really looking at the whole person from a mind, body, spirit level. I think, chronic disease brings up a lot of emotional issues and pain, and to really heal from all aspects is really having to look at that full coherent connection. And that doesn't really necessarily mean direct medical advice to do that. It's just kind of healing from a higher self perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This is so helpful to see the picture unfold of what you're building. Will you share the names of the books because you said co-author with a book with 50 other physicians. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, it is. It's called Thriving After Burnout.
Ooh.
And it's available on Amazon. I can send you the link, or we can post it.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm going to put it, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see this flying by, but if you're on the podcast, just go to Amazon and check out Thriving After Burnout. And it's written by 50 physicians. So
yeah, it's the female, actually the female physician entrepreneur group.
Okay, cool. That's wonderful. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so share a little bit. Have you created a coaching program yet, or is that what's in the works right now?
So I definitely have some, program for one-on-one coaching, but I am in the process of looking at more of a group coach model and preparing that. But for one-on-one coaching, it's going to be mostly just an hourly rate or a package option.
Okay.
I haven't really publicly offered those rates yet. I do have a website up that says I have the coaching where a potential client can offer their email, and then I'll contact them directly. But I have, like you mentioned, I'm in the startup phases of really getting this ramped up.
Okay. So share with me what you're struggling with the most, or what you would love to get answers to today.
I think today it's really getting the business set up, from a medical legal aspect as a physician. I think it can be overwhelming because I'm not going to be providing direct medical advice. So I'm obviously going to have a good, a waiver for the client. But it's also looking at what type of, from a legal entity, would it be an LLC? Would it be a sole proprietorship? And also looking at, because I do have a medical degree, having to look at that distinction between the two. Mm-hmm. Now, in the future, if I do decide to just create my own integrative medicine practice and then offer coaching as a part of that practice, that might be something I might be interested in. So I might want to leave the door open for creating something that I can incorporate that later should my employment change, or, but currently with my, just to be transparent, and since this is a podcast to help others, on their journey, I think from a financial aspect, it's hard because, I have mortgage and I just completed the fellowship. So I have a lot of expenses, and the coaching would be more of a side thing, but to actually delve and start my own practice and to go that route, there would have to be some kind of financial buffer to help with that.
Yeah. And when you say start your own practice, you're talking specifically about the integrative medicine practice.
Yes, where I would just kind of do like a practice where I would actually provide medical care in addition to integrated medicine. Which is honestly what my desire would be eventually. But I think I want it to, and maybe this is not the right word, but I mean, I feel really passionate about it. And even the book was, was a volunteer effort. There's no monetary, it's really just to help others. So I want this to be emotionally fulfilling for me, that I'm doing it as a passion, because we all can earn money. You get to a point when you're 20 years in practice, they're always asking me to work more or do more or make more. So it's really more about the personal fulfillment that I'm going to have by being able to really share my journey with others and help them get through the hump, whatever they have their difficulties in.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing a little bit? It sounds like you are inspired to do what you do based on some experience you've had, and that's why you're having a desire to coach other women who have felt burnt out. Is that part of your story?
Yeah, I mean, mine started really with a health issue that came up, and then when that came up, then I had a lot of other things I was juggling, as a mom, as a physician, having a family, financial stressors. So it became very overwhelming, and I think it makes you feel like there's no options out there, and you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of trying to uphold these principles of, pleasing others, putting your own needs, last, getting validation outside of yourself, like, hey, you're doing a good job, where you're kind of dismissing your instincts of, wait a minute, my body is screaming in pain and discomfort, but I'm still functioning, I'm still showing up, but at what expense?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
And I think a lot of times it's an invisible struggle. A lot of other people, like they perceive you, they're like, she's a badass. She's a physician. She knows what she's doing. She's, no one can see it unless you share it. And so it was that part of it too, like kind of hiding behind the pain a little bit.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely not like, a blame against the external. There's a personal responsibility we all have to take about how are we taking care of ourselves?
Yeah.
Are we asking for the support we need? Are
Yeah.
we speaking up?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it's not about blaming, it's just about acknowledging and
Yeah.
changing things and transforming our lives to what we want.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So let's chat about, you said a few things, just business strategy wise, like definitely, yes, LLC. I would say as you grow, I always recommend for people when they're starting a business, LLC first. As you generate revenue, create an S Corp, because then you have the best tax shelter. So, LLC first. This, for everyone listening, this is so simple. I don't know if you know this, but it's like whatever state you're in, the price varies. Some states it's $50. I think the most expensive, I want to say Massachusetts, it's like $400 or something. But
Okay.
you can either do this yourself, you can hire a lawyer. I mean, really, I'm not giving legal advice here, so just keep that in mind. But you could literally watch a video on YouTube University and about how to LLC and do it yourself if you want to. There's that option. Definitely, you could hire an attorney to do it for you. It'll create more cost. But always treat your business like a business. So, I LLC'd my business before I started doing anything. And so you want to have it that way. You want to have separate accounts, and you want to start creating and thinking like a CEO of your business. And so for you, because you have a job, you work you're still practicing as a doctor, and then you're also building a side hustle. So you want to have those separate entities of protection and have that set up immediately. So I highly recommend that. Absolutely. An S Corp is something that you can create once you're paying yourself when you're paying yourself consistently, then you can pay yourself a salary. And I would recommend finding a great bookkeeper who can set this up for you very easily. And then they do payroll for you, and you get a regular monthly check. And then you do distributions for the rest of your income. So those are some simple tax strategies to think about. So there's that piece. In terms of setting up programs for your people, one of the things I recommend, if you have, I always like to share with people to narrow your focus to expand your freedom. And so for you, because it's such an inspiration-based project, it's not totally for the income. It's more like, hey, I'm going to charge, but I'm doing this as a side hustle. It doesn't sound like it's something where you ever want your business to take away the other parts of your professional life. Is that true?
If it became that there was an opportunity for that, I would definitely pursue it, but I
Okay.
wouldn't want it to be where my family was uncomfortable in the process. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs, you can't. There's kind of a, what's that word? Is it oxymoron, or it's like you have to be uncomfortable? But
Yeah,
you tell
yeah,
me.
yeah. Well, when you say that, it's interesting because I know a lot of people get stuck in this place where they're like, sure, that's my dream, but I don't really believe it's possible. So I'm going to say it's not what I want. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, yeah. So remember, in manifestation, you got to be damn clear about what you want. So the first step to manifestation is clarity and certainty about what you want. Okay. So that's the first step. Like, if that's something you do desire to create, shout it loud and proud, because otherwise you're sending mixed signals to the universe. Like, you're going like, I really want this, but I don't know if I can have it. So I'm going to pretend or hide from my desire because I don't know if I can create it. And so there's a lot of fear there going on. And I notice that's what most people do when they're, quote unquote, trying to manifest or achieve goals, is they go like, I'm going to limit what I want based on what I think is possible.
Yeah, no, that resonates. And I think a lot of it too is like fear of what other people will think,
Yeah.
because when you're, the traditional route is like the known route.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of, physicians out there doing what I'm doing or already have like well-established businesses. So I don't think I'm in the minority at all. But if you look at the traditional role of a medicine, this is still kind of at the periphery a little bit.
Definitely. Well, and I think even when I was, I decided to go not the professor route and instead go coaching route, it's like a massive step down in people's minds.
Yeah.
It's like stigmatized as not as professional or not as serious. Like, somehow you're wasting your degree, is how some people, and honestly, I think it's just how I thought about it. It wasn't what they were thinking.
Yeah. You kind of thought, oh, they must be thinking this.
Exactly. And what it showed to me is my own limiting beliefs. Later, I realized that. In the time, I just felt like it was very real. And even if they are thinking that, who cares what other people think? Who are we letting define our lives and our businesses, right?
Right.
So,
absolutely.
So Dr. Rita, I would start there with like going, what am I really creating? Like, what do I really choose to create? And it's okay to say, hey, I want a full-time coaching business. It might take 5 years. That's okay. It might take a year. It's up to you. It's just being clear first about the fact that that is something that you desire.
I think I really want to do the medical portion as well, but I just haven't made that plunge to just go full. So I want to start with the coaching and make sure it's aligning with what I'm offering others and seeing their kind of soaring and flourishing, and then also looking at where I'm at with what my goals are.
Perfect.
After doing it. So I feel like it could be a first step, because I definitely have understood over these last 20 years of practice, it's really those relationships that I had with the patients that have been so meaningful to me in terms of why I do this work.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome clarification. And so it sounds like you are clear. Like, you go like, hey, I want the coaching, I want to experiment. And I like that you're doing that, because it's a discovery process. I think a lot of people, when they start business, they think they should know really fast. And it doesn't necessarily work that way. You've got to play a little bit and get your hands dirty and go like, and this is such a funny phrase. I don't even like to say that because it sounds not good. Let's say,
but I know what you mean.
Yeah, like you got to play in the sandbox,
roll up your sleeves,
totally.
basically.
And then you go like, oh, I like to work with this type of person and with this in this part of my zone of genius. And then I build on that. Or sometimes you do something that you think you will enjoy and you get into it and you're like, that wasn't really what I thought it was going to be. And so you pivot a little bit. And so, especially at the startup phase, that's going to happen a lot. And so it's okay for that to happen. So it's allowing yourself to play and discover and explore. So to me, it sounds like you're really clear that that's a good next step for you. So in designing your coaching programs right now, so you said you have some one-on-one and then you're leaning toward doing some group. Do you need help outlining any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to other coaches just to get some feedback on how they're doing it. But yeah, I'm always researching and reading blogs and looking at different programs, like a 6-week program or a 12-week program, maybe doing a bi-weekly, or twice a month call. And yeah, no, I'm definitely open to any help.
Okay. So let's start with zone of genius and joy. So what do you enjoy doing the most in terms of, do you enjoy, because you said you offer a one-off session and then longer term, do you enjoy the one or the longer term better?
I like the idea of the longer term. I
Okay.
think in terms of my, if I relate it to what I'm doing now, I do basically one-on-one. I'm talking to patients one-on-one. And I
Yeah.
think doing a coaching would be rewarding to have that more collaborative feel,
Yeah.
with, having more than one person in the group.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. Have you ever thought of this? This could be fun for you. I always love to just brainstorm ideas and throw them out there and see what feels good to you based on what you're saying. So, I was thinking a hybrid model where you get some one-on-one time, but then they have access to a group. So you have it as like, hey, let's get some one-on-one, but then the group aspect, and we all know that the group aspect brings very different things to the table. It creates community, and then people learn from each other and hear other people's health challenges,
Mhm.
which then helps them feel like, oh my God, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who experiences this. And so you get to have that community-based feel. And I think of it as like transformational learning. So how does something like that sound interesting to you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, especially when I'm just starting out, I think doing the one-on-one is really helpful too, because it's one thing to practice medicine for as long as I have, but to do coaching, I think specifically where I'm leaving out the medical advice, having some, understanding what clients' pain points are, what are they really struggling with on a day-to-day basis. I think I already know for the most part, but I do
Yeah.
want to go in with that curious mind.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine in 20 years of practice, your people very well. Yeah.
Yeah, but I learn something new all the time
Yeah.
about what's going on. And now that I'm getting older too, it's like there's those generational gaps that are coming up of like,
Uh-huh.
oh wow,
Yeah, definitely.
people think differently and the norms are different and
Yeah,
you know.
definitely. Yeah. Okay. So just, in terms of building stuff like this out, I always like to remind people of some just key simple things to remember. So, you want to go with your zone of genius, do the things you enjoy first the most. And
Mhm.
so, you could play with like, okay, am I loving one-on-one or, am I adding group? What's the purpose of adding group? And if I like both of those, create a hybrid model. For startups, I definitely always recommend longer term packages instead of just a one-off, because when you're beginning, you don't have as big of an audience to speak to. And
Mhm.
it's hard to find, and I don't want to plant the seed that it has to be hard, but it's as you build your network and your following, it's a lot easier to build a bigger group. And so, at first it's like, you're going to be cherry picking your people and you're going to be working closely with them. And the better the results that you get, the easier it gets to have them magnetize more people your way.
Mhm.
And so it's easier to do when you have a longer term relationship with your people, and then obviously try to charge a higher amount. And then you could have that group aspect as, it's like this extra bonus of them getting to work with you. And then you can decide, like, do I take that group as a separate entity, or do I just keep doing a hybrid model based on what you're enjoying the most? Often we shift from one-on-one to group because we max out our time, and there's only one of you. And so if you're only doing one-on-one, then either you've got to raise your prices to keep it being viable or shift to more group activities. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that makes sense. And actually, you brought up a good point for me that I wanted to mention is I also looked into some online courses, and then that creating like a, you know, um, kind of a repetitive group coaching that goes with the online course that would be
Yeah.
live. And I actually, in the online course, I would like to kind of bring in more of an integrated model, like, and talk about nutrition and talk about ways to eat, things to eat,
Yep. Yep.
managing mind, body, and using some of that more, medical, but not in a direct medical way, in a more
Yep.
informational way. And then using that as part of my coaching as well. So there would be a integrated medicine aspect to it.
Awesome. So right now, if you were to start, let's say you started like a hybrid one-on-one and group model for, let's say you did a 12-week program. Do you think that you have 5 to 10 people that would be interested in going through it now?
Um, I wouldn't say I know 5 people for sure. I would say maybe one or two people who
Okay.
seem interested, but I haven't officially launched anything because I am, being in medicine, you tend to be very, any field, I'm sure, but you just tend to be, like you said, set up the LLC first before you do anything. So I've really been very cautious to not proceed with anything until like I've
Okay.
really officially set up something. But
Okay.
I'm kind of trying to put the feelers out a little bit on Instagram, but I do feel I'm not doing a great job on
Okay.
that.
Okay. Well, you know why? Do you know why? And I'd love to hear your take on when you say I don't feel like I'm doing a great job on it. Why? To me, well, the reason is because there's hesitancy.
I think you're right.
Yeah, yeah. So anytime we have hesitancy when we're selling something or sharing information, that background wavelength that we're sending out in our frequency is a confused wavelength, right? So it's a lack of coherence. It's like I want this, but I'm afraid. So you have a competing commitment going on internally that where the conscious is battling the unconscious or subconscious, and you go, oh, I want this, but I'm also not set up. I want this, but I'm not sure if people will think I'm crazy. I want this, but I don't know what kind of program I have. Does that resonate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So clarity is the first thing, right?
I think you called it the first 5 minutes of our conversation.
Yes. Yeah. And I get it because I think especially in your position, it's I would imagine more than anything, it's that piece of like, I'm a medical professional. I've been a medical professional for 20 years. Will people think I'm crazy for being on Instagram and sharing knowledge? Or, will people think I'm crazy for being a coach? Like, so there's that background fear going on. So yeah, so play with dropping that. A really great strategy here is to focus on the people that you're serving or the people you plan to serve in the coaching model that you're creating, and write out the benefits to them, because what that does is focuses your mindset toward helping people versus your fears and insecurities and imposter syndrome doubts.
I love that. That's great. Yeah, because that whenever I get into the fear mode, that's when I kind of go back to why I'm doing this,
Yeah.
and then I get that passion again and I want to do it.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
I love
So
that list idea. I'm gonna do that.
yeah.
Do you recommend doing it on a regular basis, or just even maybe like one time do it and reread the list, or?
Brilliant question, and both, I would say. So well, it's weird. One time basis, but then reread it. So and just keep adding to it. So for lists like that, I put it on my desktop, and I will keep adding to it. And every time I'm going to go create something, if I'm struggling in a fear space, I'll go back to that list and I'll reread. It could be client testimonials. It could be benefits I know that people have experienced. It could be something nice someone has said to me about the work I've done with them. It could be an email, and I just keep it all in a document, and you read through that, and then you're like, oh yeah, create the video. Like, this isn't about me. It's about me being a channel of wisdom and information to share with people who need my help. So I always like to remind people, you're water in the desert, right? You are water in the desert for someone who's starving and needs exactly what you have. Are you for everyone? Nope. Are you for the right person? Yep. And so it's like, let go of that fear of rejection and what other people think about you, so that you can step into your fullest brilliance and really help people in the world. And obviously you have a huge heart for that. That's very clear. And you've been a physician for 20 years. So what you're doing. There's no doubt. There's no skill lacking.
Yeah. And I think that, I read a quote where there are people who are less qualified than you who are doing like X, Y, or Z. Or
Exactly.
I think you might have seen that quote before.
Oh yeah, definitely. And all that is a mindset difference. That's it, right? And so one thing you said, you said you're kind of waiting to make sure that everything's set up. And my brain goes like, set up your LLC right when we get off. It'll take you could do it in less than 1 hour. I'm not kidding. And that's where people get hung up on little things, and they think it's like, well, I'm waiting to do that and I don't know how, but really what it is a subconscious avoidance strategy of procrastinating. And so it's fear-based usually.
It's making excuses when your mind is very good at keeping you safe.
Yes, exactly. So you logically know it. So now let's help you break through it. So either when we're finished, you can either reach out to a lawyer who's going to set up the LLC for you, or do it yourself. And, you just go, hey, I have 1 hour to research how to set up the online LLC. Where you're in what state?
California.
Okay, California. I've looked it up before. I can't remember the cost, but I mean, really, you could go online to an online help for setting up an LLC and pay a couple $100 and have it on its way. So you can't use that excuse anymore, right?
Actually, the universe has a way of, so you're actually sending me the same message. And then someone I had lunch with yesterday, just out of the blue, said, if you need a lawyer to set up your LLC or S Corp, just let me know. I have a contact for you. So it's like the universe is, really sending, like you would say, sends us the messages. Do we listen or do we not?
Yeah, exactly. So now you're getting it twice. So yes, that's your next step. What that will do is free up for you in your mind that piece of professionalism that I know is there for you. And so you go like, I've got the LLC now. Now what? Right? The next best step is to create a product or a program that has a name, that has the 12, or, I like to do 12 weeks because you can get really incredible results with people in 12 weeks.
Yeah, because 6 weeks is just not long enough.
I agree. I really always recommend 12 weeks. People can think in 12-week stints, and they can also get a lot of results in that amount of time. I mean, for my mastermind, it's an annual, but it's like we do weekly stuff and people come into it knowing it's annual. That's a little bit different than like a program where you're looking for a very specific result in a shorter period of time. And I definitely say for startup people, 12 weeks is a really sweet spot. And so it's 12 weeks. You come up with the name of the program, the design of the program. And I want you and everyone listening to abide by what I call, or it's not what I call, it's Parkinson's Law. Okay. Have you heard of Parkinson's Law before?
I know about Parkinson's disease.
Yeah, I'm sure you know a lot about Parkinson's disease. Okay, not that. So Parkinson's Law states that work expands to fill the time allotted. Okay. Work expands to fill the time allotted. So if you give yourself 1 hour to do something, it'll take an hour. If you don't set a time limitation, it could take weeks. Right. And so I live by Parkinson's Law because it helps me be efficient and powerhouse with my time. And time is our most precious commodity because we don't get more of it. Right. Every day is the same amount of time. So it's not about managing time. It's about mastering yourself in the way you use your time. Right. That's how you get high ROI results. And so you want to go like, okay, I'm going to give myself a certain number of hours to create this program. And then because you're on a biz breakdown session with me, email me the outline of the program and ask for feedback. Right.
Okay.
So and give yourself a time limit. So what's a good time limit for you to create and the way I recommend doing this, I'll send you my one sheet for NFA Money Mamas. I have a 1-sheet document that I send to people with what they're going to get out of the program. And it's a PDF. I created it on Canva. I have a web page, but you don't have to. My first program I created, it was exactly what we're talking about. It was 12 weeks. It was hybrid where they had an online course and one-on-one time with me. I created at the time it was a Google spreadsheet with the 12 weeks. It had the topics and then what they were going to get. And I would literally have a consult with them, talk about what was on that spreadsheet, send them to them after the consult. And then I had a very high conversion rate, almost 100%. I didn't have a landing page. I didn't overcomplicate it. So especially at that startup phase, just don't overthink it. Mm-hmm. So I'll send you an example of the NFA Money Mama ones I have. And then just start there, outline it, and then ask me. And so, remember, especially because you're a very smart person, you want to overcomplicate things.
I don't know. I take the compliment of the smart person, but I definitely agree with you on the overcomplicating. That I agree with you.
Yes. And I want to say that to everyone listening, all of you out there are brilliant, brilliant people. We have so many gifts to bring to the world. And one thing that is a real drawback of being smart is that you overthink things. So it's, analysis paralysis. And so Parkinson's Law is a really powerful way to help with analysis paralysis. You go, I've got 3 hours to create this and good enough. Screw perfection, just get started. Right. Mm-hmm. And get out there and talk to more people. And then remember to go back to that list of what are the benefits of the people I'm helping to the people I'm helping. And then remind yourself, hey, this is about getting out in the world and helping people. Right. And it helps you get into inspired action and stop with that procrastination problem.
No, I love that. I mean, everything you say just really resonates with me. and just, back to the coherence. I mean, it just feels like, it's like, I feel like I'm called or meant to do it. Like, it's like, it's that other quote. I'm full of quotes, but I don't remember them. But it's the one where it says, don't die without sending your message through, or
Yes.
don't, it's like, I can feel it. Like, I have this strong message to share and to help others. And it's more that opportunity cost of not saying it, even for my own health, because I have it so strongly
Yeah.
that if I
Yeah.
don't share it, it's just, because I could just be fine the way I am.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, I could make my life way less complicated, because I'm pretty good at what I do. I mean, I don't have to think, I'm always learning stuff, but you do it, any career you do for so many years, you get very comfortable in it, and
Yep.
you don't need to worry about your knowledge base, and it's not trying anything new. And,
Yep.
but it's like, I'm feeling compelled to change
Yes.
things up for a reason.
So
So,
let me remind you and everyone listening, follow your inspiration. Inspiration is a divine, I don't know what people's spiritual beliefs are, but I absolutely believe in the law of attraction, manifestation, quantum physics, that we live in a field of energy. And when you get a divine calling, like you're talking about, follow your inspiration, because that is the universal guidance showing you what to do
mhm,
next. Right. And we
mhm.
stop it through being resistant, by then all of a sudden our head makes up all these ideas about, the problems, the obstacles, which creates resistance, which slows down manifestation time.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So follow it, follow it, follow it, follow it.
Follow it.
Yes. It makes me think about, it's interesting because this will be released after this other I just did a short for tomorrow for a quote. I always do a quote of the week, and the quote is, stop shrinking to fit oh my gosh, stop shrinking to fit the places you've outgrown.
Oh,
Is
wow.
that right? Stop shrinking to fit. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure we all do that
Oh my
regularly.
God, so much, right? So to me, what it sounds like is you've outgrown some of your old ways of being in the world, and you're getting this inspiration and this calling to break through that box and shine your light even bigger and make a bigger impact. And so follow it.
Yes, yes. I mean, I don't know, you probably have heard of Abraham Hicks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love her quotes. And I actually, in a way, like, this whole journey started when I went and saw her live,
Oh
like right
yes.
before COVID hit. It was January of 2020.
Yeah.
And it really, a lot of what you say resonates with me. It's like listening to your inner guidance system,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Yeah, rockets of desire is what
yes,
she talks.
exactly,
Yeah,
rockets
rockets
of
of
desire.
desire.
And then
Yeah.
we keep evolving for, every moment more and more. It's not like it's a journey. We're not at this finite place. Like, we keep growing and evolving, and that's what being alive is about.
Yeah. Yeah. And so really the question is, how big are you willing to let yourself grow?
Yeah.
Right? Like, are you limiting yourself? Are you shrinking? Are you playing small? Or do you just go like, hey, go for it? I don't care what anyone else thinks.
Yeah.
Like, play big,
And
power
people
woman,
are
Dr. Rita.
involved. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
people are involved in their own lives too. It's like we sometimes give ourselves too much importance to think that they're
Totally.
even thinking about what we're
Yes.
doing. I mean, maybe they are for a fleeting moment,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
It's funny you say that. I realized when I used to have really bad social anxiety and I wouldn't want to share my thoughts because I would like be so freaking out inwardly. I started playing with self-confidence and learning to love myself more. And I realized I was like, it's actually really narcissistic for me to worry so much about what other people are thinking about me. Right? Like, just like,
yeah.
and what exactly you're saying, people are really not thinking the way I'm thinking. That's all my projected fears and worries onto other people. And then you get that, you get like a reflective mirror back, but it's not always accurate. It's stories you're making up in your mind, and so you get to go like, hey, just give, just be, just share, and let the universe take care of all the other stuff. You don't need to worry about what other people are thinking. You will attract the exact perfect people who are ready and willing and in need for your expertise. Like
Absolutely.
holistic health and helping people with chronic pain is Very important. I mean, living a quality of life where you have chronic pain sucks.
It does. I mean, it's just so unpredictable, and it's, it's like riding an emotional roller coaster all the time
Yeah.
because
They
you
out of
don't know.
control.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an out of control feeling. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of it is, it's that finding that self-compassion piece and realizing that can be really hard sometimes, and knowing that everyone has some struggles that they're going
Yes.
through. They just might be different.
Totally. Well, and
Yeah.
then it sounds like, especially if you're following Abraham Hicks and doing different manifestation-based stuff, that people have great power in their mind to heal themselves. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, you've got the medical background mixed with that spiritual piece. Like, you've got such a beautiful gift to bring the world. So stay on it. Share with everyone two things. First, what action steps are you going to take after our biz breakdown session today?
So today I'm going to look up how to get an LLC in my state.
Yay!
And
Awesome.
at least get some actionable steps, know what the cost is and where to go and where to sign up. And maybe based on that, if I do want to seek legal advice, I can always, ask my friend who suggested her reference.
Perfect.
And then I'm going to also look at creating a group coaching program. I actually would like to create an online course and then in kind of pull in the integrated piece. I think as long as I have that waiver, it should be okay.
Yep.
And then I'll have the LLC to back it up. And then also offer maybe some live Q&A sessions.
Cool.
During the course.
To attract. Yeah. Okay. And so just for clarity, are you going to create a group program and then a separate course, or these are together?
I was hoping to create like an online course with the Q&A, but also in the future, maybe do a group coaching. But I was thinking that maybe the online course would be the first good opportunity.
So start there first.
Yeah. To kind of gain, some understanding of the people who would be interested. And then based on, like you said, if they get a lot of value out of it, they get magnetized.
Okay.
And then they might be ready for subsequent group coaching to kind of delve deeper into, because I feel like the online course would be more superficial than what a group coaching could do.
Definitely. Yeah. When the more interaction they have with you, the bigger the transformations. Just keep in mind, if you're going to go the course route before the group coaching, it's you got to have a really good lead gen system and conversion system to make sure that you're getting cold market into a course. To have it sell at a scale that's going to make you enough money to keep your business going well, you got to have a pretty big audience or a really powerful strategy to make sure you're bringing in enough people and converting them into the course. So just keep that in mind.
Okay, so that's where I would really need to focus in on getting like the building my email list,
definitely,
and creating the newsletters. So.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, I'm going to give a shameless plug for everyone here. This is exactly what I do in my NFA Money Mama Mastermind. So NFA Money Mamas, it's MAMAS. So NFA stands for No Fucking Around, which is my company name, no Fucking Around Money. So NFAMoneyMamas.com. If you go to the Women Entrepreneur podcast page, there's also a link there. In the mastermind, we meet every week for money mindset, tips, strategies, up-leveling. We do business scaling on Wednesdays. We meet live every week. And then I do a weekly training course, exactly what we're talking about here, learning lead gen, learning opt-ins, learning package design, learning how to charge the right amount. Like all the things that we're talking about here is exactly what NFA Money Mamas brings to the table. Plus, I have a course in there, several courses actually. So great, awesome mastermind for you. If you are in that pre-six figure, I have women in there who have built post six figure businesses as well. So it's a really cool community. So if this is sounding like, oh my God, I need all those things, check it out. You and I can get on a consult and talk together about whether it's a good fit or not and go from there. It's only $5,000 for the entire year, which is insane. Probably in 2024, I will double the price. So get in 2023, and I'd say get in now. Really cool program. So those are the kinds of things. Like, I know people need like the step-by-step process because there's a million things to think about when you're building a business. It's like, it can be very overwhelming. And so I like to help people get laser focused and know the next step to take. So just, shout out there for NFA Money Mamas.
No, I'm glad you shared that, because I think that it's very much needed. And you tapped on the fear issue and understanding some of the barriers and the excuses that go into it, the procrastination. So I think you really can help a lot of people with this process. And have their light shine through.
Yes, that's the goal, right? We all get to shine our beautiful goddess lights. Okay, tell everyone, this was the second thing I was going to have you do. So now you've got your action steps. Share where everyone can find you.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram. That's kind of the main place. It's at wellhealthdoc, WELLHEALTH doc, DOC. I do have a website, so if you'd like to, if you're interested in coaching, you can. It's in my bio. It's called medstherightway.com. And then we can set up a 15-minute call to just kind of see where you're at and see if coaching would be a good fit for you. Also, I have co-authored a book. It's called Thrive After Burnout. It's very dear to my heart. It's kind of my personal story that I went through with my health issue. And also just it's, over 50 women have contributed, and it's really just real life stories, which are just so inspirational and, heart-wrenching. And it just makes you realize, like, we all have a story, and, we can all thrive afterwards. So I
love that.
It's really,
that's so cool.
And the proceeds go to charity. So it's really to help spread the word and help a lot of people.
Okay. And I want to clarify, just because I have on the screen Thriving After Burnout. Is it Thrive After Burnout or Thriving After Burnout?
Thrive After Burnout.
Thrive After Burnout. Okay.
Let me make sure. Gosh. Now, see, there's this imposter syndrome coming in, right?
Hey, you create a lot in the world, so I get it.
I think it's like, what it is? It's being in medicine. It's like, even though you know something, you're dealing with people's lives. So it's like you're always like making sure you're triple like OCD. Checking. Triple checking everything.
I'm sure.
But I'm just going to double check.
Yeah. So just for everyone listening again, so it's Meds the Right Way. So MEDS the Right Way, medstherightway.com. That's where you can schedule a consult with Dr. Rita to chat about your health needs, health issues, health goals. So go there for that, and then connect with her on Instagram, Well Health Doc. So her handle is Well Health Doc. And then the book is...
It is Thriving After Burnout.
Oh, I did have it right in there. Okay. Yes, so Thriving, if you go to Amazon, it's Thriving After Burnout, which sounds incredible.
And it's a compilation of real stories and strategies to reduce female physician burnout.
Wow. Awesome. This is amazing. We were talking pre-show about how long these shows go, and she's like 15 or 20 minutes. I was like, oh, definitely not that. And then, like sometimes I just let the conversation go where it needs to go. So we're at like almost 50-ish minutes. So thank you everyone for being here today. This is the reason I do what I do. My zone of genius is helping you break through your fears, get aligned so you can create a business you love, doing what you love in the world, making money, impacting people. And so you listening is just like, makes me want to cry tears of joy. I thank you for being here. And I'm always here to help you in the ways that you need. So hang out with me on the podcast by going to the womanentrepreneurpodcast.com, either schedule, or you could do both, schedule a BIZ breakdown session and come to the Women Entrepreneur podcast party. We're going to have so much fun. And yes, thank you, Dr. Rita, for being on. It was such a joy to have you. You're amazing. I cannot wait to see what you create in the world.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And thank you for all your wisdom. It's been so helpful. And thank you for the listeners for being there and listening. And I hope that this will be helpful to you. I know it will be.
100%. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for sharing your journey with us and things that you are learning to build your business. All right, ladies, until next time, I'm sending you big hugs and NFA money making high fives.
Bye. It was from me too.
Yay. Hey friends, just a quick reminder that I'm looking for women entrepreneurs who want to do a biz breakdown session with me on this show, just like the one that you heard on today's episode. Think of this as a zone of manifestation audit to help you scale your business and make money more easily. During our recorded session, you'll get free money coaching from me with clear action steps that will help you scale your business more easily. And of course, as a guest on the show, you'll be able to promote your business and get some extra exposure. I'm doing this on a first come, first served basis. So head on over to www.thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com and sign up for your Biz Breakdown session today.